Chapter 1. No one is crazy. Many of us think of financial decision-making as a hard science. Whether in corporate boardrooms or in our private lives, we assume that if we put data into an equation, we'll know what to do. But in the real world, most people don't make financial decisions based on cold, hard numbers. Instead, we ask our friends for advice, check the news for economic predictions, or listen to our gut. After covering the 2008 crisis, investor and former Wall Street Journal columnist Morgan Housel discovered the underlying emotion in money management. And he realized that successful money management often has more to do with how you behave than with what you know. In his book The Psychology of Money, Housel outlines various lessons on the biases and blind spots that can lead to bad money management. In the following chapters, you'll uncover a few common misconceptions that may be limiting your financial skills. Although our personal experiences account for little of what's happened in the world, they make up the majority of how we think the world works. For example, if you were born in the 1990s, inflation has always been so low that you may think it's a non-issue. But if you were born in the 1960s, the inflation you saw in your teens and 20s has affected how you think of the economy. Ultimately, we make financial decisions based on these personal experiences and how they affect our worldview. Because of this, sometimes people make financial decisions that make little sense to the rest of us. They're making decisions based on the information they have, which may be different than what we have. So Housel argues, people do some crazy things with money. But no one is crazy. Retirement is a good example. Before World War II, Americans generally worked until they died. Then came Social Security. The first check cashed in 1940, adjusted for inflation, was worth just $416 in today's dollars. Eventually, people began to view retirement as an important investment, but that change took time. In fact, the 401k did not exist until 1978 and the Roth IRA until 1998. But by the end of 2018, the US had $27 trillion in retirement accounts. However, because retirement is still novel, many of us struggle to save up for it. But remember, none of us are crazy. Our financial decisions are shaped by the world we live in, and as we'll see, things can take a while to change. Next, discover a financial strategy you may have overlooked that is guaranteed to help you make money. Chapter 2. Compounding. Warren Buffett is one of the most successful investors of all time. But surprisingly, $81.5 billion of Warren Buffett's $84.5 billion net worth was earned after his 65th birthday. Housel explains how Buffett obtained such an incredible fortune so late in life. He started investing early. By investing from an early age, Buffett was able to reap the benefits of compounding. Compounding is a process whereby the interest earned on an original investment, as well as the interest that accrues from that interest, grow over time. For example, imagine you invest $10,000 at 5% interest. After 1 year, your initial investment would accrue $500. Then the next year, your total of $10,500 would compound at 5% interest, earning you another $525. Thus, you've made money off your initial investment, as well as the principal interest earned. Many of us don't realize how drastic compounding's results can be because they are unintuitive. But compounding can help you increasingly make more money as time goes on. To further explore the benefits of compounding, let's consider a world in which Buffett's wealth had not compounded. As of 2020, Buffett is 90 years old and started investing when he was 10 years old. When he turned 30, Buffett's net worth was $1 million, roughly $9.3 million in 2020 dollars. In this alternate world, imagine Buffett tapped into his funds in his 20s, causing his net worth at 30 to dip to $25,000, rather than $1 million. Buffett continued to generate the same annual investment returns he generates in the real world, 22%. Then he retired at 60. In this alternate world, what would Buffett's net worth be today? $11.9 million. That's 99.9% less than his current net worth, $84.5 billion. Housel argues that Buffett's use of time is the secret to his fortune, and arguably matters more than his high returns. For example, consider hedge fund manager Jim Simons. He's compounded money at 66% annually since 1988, a rate 1/3 higher than Buffett. And yet, Simon's net worth is $21 billion, 75% less than Buffett's. How is this possible? It's because, unlike Buffett, Simons did not hit his investment stride until his 50s, Housel explains. If he had invested for the same amount of time that Buffett did, Housel says his worth would be $63,900,781,780,748,160,000. This highlights the tremendous effect of compounding and why we shouldn't be so quick to overlook it. Chapter 3. Long tails. Many of us are wary of financial failure. We think that if we make a mistake, it could affect us for the long term. Housel argues this isn't necessarily the case. Even with a few mistakes, you can still make a fortune. For example, in the 1930s future art dealer Heinz Bergeron began acquiring a vast art collection. In 2000, he sold part of his collection of Picassos, Bricks, Klees and Matisses to the German government. It was privately valued at over $1 billion. How was he able to acquire so many masterpieces? Housel explains, the great art dealers bought everything they could. Then they sat and waited for a few winners to emerge. In other words, Bergeron bought a lot of art, knowing that even if 99% of what he purchased was useless, 1% might contain a masterpiece. Bergeron's success highlights the importance of long tails, the farthest ends of a distribution of outcomes, Housel explains. The effect of long tails is often underestimated, but Housel argues that a small number of events can lead to the majority of the outcome. In this case, the long tails of Bergeron's masterpieces led to his ultimate fortune. The effect of long tails aren't exclusive to art and affect business and investing in a similar way. As an example, consider Amazon. Even though it's just one company, it drove 6% of the S&P 500's returns in 2018. Its growth came primarily from two tail events, Prime and web services. These are the 1% that make up for the 99% of Amazon's less successful projects, like the Fire Phone or travel agencies. Similarly, Apple contributed 8% of the S&P 500 returns in 2018. And although Apple also has had many failed projects, the iPhone is the tail event that's driven most of its success. Despite the prevalence of long tails, most of us don't take them into account. This can lead us to overreact when things fail. We don't realize that even if 99% of what we do fails, there is a chance 1% will succeed. Moving forward, you can embrace the knowledge that it's okay to be wrong sometimes. Things will likely still work out.